I wanted to do this video because there are a lot of people saying some pretty crazy things about quantum physics. They very often misunderstand what the theories actually are. This is easy to do, but it's also easy to disprove because there are physicists online that talk about this problem. It might seem like it's not a big problem, and to be honest, it isn't. But it still gets on my nerves, mainly because reputations of these misunderstandings aren't very well known. I'm not going to go into huge detail, but I'll give you the basics and where people go wrong. It's actually a very interesting subject simply because it's so weird. The misunderstandings are really quite common and are mainly propagated by pseudoscientific news sites. Whether they understand that they're misrepresenting the subject is unclear, but they seem to be trying to find scientific justification for spiritualism. Generally, it goes along the lines of quantum physics proves that consciousness affects reality, so it's all a hologram, or quantum physics proves the soul. Looking at the subject, I can understand the misconception, but having read a few books on it, I think I can answer how it's wrong. I'll put some sources in the description so you can check it out yourself. People often refer to the idea of an observer affecting outcomes. The argument goes, if a person is needed to observe something, that calls into question the idea of reality. I think this causes a lot of confusion because people assume the observer is a human being. But in fact, the observer can be any piece of equipment that detects the event. Basically, what it really means is this. Quantum physics relies on probabilities. When you have two isolated systems, where in one system it has a chance of being in one state or another, when those two systems interact, they become one system, and the universe can actually rely on the state of that second system to decide the past state of the first system. I know I said basically, and that's a lot to process, but that's why it's so easy to misunderstand. The important thing is that the observer does not have to be a person. The reality is that it's a sort of cascading effect of synchronized waveforms with that decision affecting first whatever detects it, then one physicist whose state changes to reflect it, then whoever he tells, and whatever changes that might make. It's all about how the universe makes decisions. It's really, really weird, but most physicists will tell you that there's nothing distinguishing consciousness, especially. As far as I know, there's nothing to say that there's any unique properties of the mind, so claims that it proves the soul or that reality is an illusion are really misunderstandings. I think part of it is also due to the fact that initially physicists thought it was consciousness especially, but did more experiments and found that was wrong. One place I found is useful for this particular question is Quora, where physicists have refuted this and basically said exactly what I've said, except better. Part of the problem with refuting it is that theoretical physics, especially quantum physics, is so difficult to understand that when scientists try to explain it, often they start using terms the layman, and I'll count myself in that, won't understand. The books I read on the subject were special books written specifically for idiots like me, and I skip the mathematical parts. I find the subject fascinating, but I'm always careful to point to actual physicists when talking about it. I will literally reread my sources before doing so to make sure that I'm getting it right. But the people that report this kind of thing don't really care about the truth. They only care about supporting their worldview. My personal worldview is pretty mundane. I believe in science because it's the only reliable method about knowing things about the world. The fact is that science is by definition what we know, and what we don't know becomes science the moment we are able to prove it exists. If someone somewhere is able to repeatedly prove something exists, that's now science. Ghosts, miracles, psychics, they're not real. If they were, we would be able to integrate them into our scientific theories in some way. I hope this has enlightened you. This may be the only video I do on this subject, I don't know. Let me know if there's something you want to hear me talk about. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you want more, subscribe.